Hi, welcome back to another painting episode, Brush Tips with Cheri. Today we are going to come in and paint an octopus, because why not? Look at how cute he is. This is an Abby original. If you don't know who Abby is, she's my partner at the shop and she is amazing. So this is one of her originals. Today we have a variety of different colors. I went ahead and painted my background first, but I'm going to show you how to get that color, okay? So I have a couple different shades of blue. I've got the turquoise blue, actually that's phthalo green, a phthalo blue. I also have red, yellow, orange, neon orange, brown, black, and white. So this is a great color palette to start off with for this. You can also buy different shades if you would like. Now we have our different brushes here. I don't need this one. We have these different brushes here. This is our Big Daddy brush. He gets the job done. We love him. Here's our mommy brush. She does great work too. We have a teenage brush and a baby brush. These are little round ones. These ones are great for getting into those little tiny nooks and crannies and just adding some detail. So the first thing I would have you do is draw out your octopus. If you need a template, you can always message us, or you can just kind of go off of a picture online. You're going to use your Big Daddy brush and you are going to mix up, drop all your brushes in your cup, sorry. You're going to go ahead and mix up the blues. I did grab my mommy brush just because I don't need to add a whole bunch. So I'm going to take a little bit of this blue over here, a little bit of this phthalo blue, start mixing those two together. Now this is just to give you the background color. Take some of this green and start pulling it over. Okay, I'm going to grab some white and bring some white in. Now you can buy this color from any of your local craft stores, okay? You don't have to make the color. It is a little bit more fun to make the color. I'm also going to grab just a tiny little hint of black because I do want to add a little black into some of it, just to add that depth, okay? So the darker you go with the greens, the darker it'll be on your canvas, more green. But if you add a little bit more blue, it'll be a little bit more blue. It's whatever color you prefer. So what you'll do is you'll just start painting your background like this. Okay? I go around my octopus, right? And then I still just pull down. Now if you're more comfortable using the mommy one like this, you can, but the daddy one gives you a little bit more fuller coverage. If you want it a little bit more green, add a little bit more green, and look, you can shade in some different shades of blue. Now see, I got a little bit on my octopus, but that's okay, because we can come back in later and fix it with a little bit of white. White is like our magic eraser. White is the Mr. Clean of paint. So I'm going to come in down here and hit this with some blue. If your background isn't filling in as nicely as you would like to, maybe your paint isn't dry, or maybe your paint's too dry and you need to wet it a little bit, it's okay, just grab your brush, drop it in your cup of water, and wet your paint. Okay? I'm going to grab my little baby detail brush. Actually, I could grab that teenage one, this little round one right here, and just start mixing some over here. And I'm just going to come in real soft in all the little detail spots. I use my pinky to balance. This is why I painted my background first, because I need to be able to get this one done a little bit quicker. All right, so I'm going to let this background dry. While the background is drying, we're going to go ahead and put in the orange on our octopus. Look, I got to fill that guy in right there. Whoop. Let me reach grab a little bit of water on my brush, and boom. Now you can come in afterwards and do this again after you're done. There's no right or wrong angle or way to do this part, all these little details, okay? It's however you would prefer. So actually, I will come back in after I get this orange on and play around with some of the details. I'm gonna rinse that blue really, really good off my brush here. Wrong brush. And I just realized I forgot my apron. Well, that's not great because I always go like this. But as you can see, that's why I always wear paint pants when I paint. Not all the time. On here I don't normally, but sometimes I do. All right, we're gonna grab this orange. I'm gonna come in with a little bit of the yellow mixed in with the orange just to make it a soft muted orange. And I am just going to start painting. Now you see I have a little bit of blue over the edge. That's okay. You can always grab some white and hide it. Okay, so if you wanted to come in on the edges, with this, you could. And again, you could use your little brush, whichever brush you prefer. I do hit the tops and the sides of my canvas. Now you don't always have to do that, but I like to. I'm gonna fill this guy in pretty quick. This is when the Big Daddy brush would work good too, is at this angle. Now you see I'm going up and down with my paint. Once I get all that coverage on there, I'm actually gonna start to kind of go around because the head is round. So I want my head to be round looking. You see how it just made my head look round now? So go into all these little nooks and crannies. I have to wet that brush again. I'm gonna wet my paint. Mix, mix, mix. Go soft. Now you see how I turn my brush around? And then I bring it down. I know all the oranges don't match, but that's okay. We don't want them to match. Different angles hit differently on different light. And when you actually look at a fish or even your own skin, you have different tones in there. So it's okay to have the different tones. Now you see how long I'm going with this? Because I want this to all flow down at some point, okay? So it's all gonna flow down. Look, I pulled some of that blue. It's okay, it's okay. If you're not comfortable going around this little loop with the bigger one, get the little round one. I went over the blue, but that's okay because we can come back in with that little detail brush in a while. So right now I'm just trying to get this base part on. Then we can come in with all the little cute little details. Now, I don't know if any of you know anything about octopuses. Number one, they are adorable. I watched that one show about the octopus and it was just so sweet. And then, you know, a lot of people eat them too. And that's okay too. It's okay. But it does change your perspective on the octopus. So if you actually love to eat the octopus, then do not watch that show because your octopus then will have feelings later. So here we go. Fill it in, fill it in, fill it in. Now my base is not going to be perfect just because for time's sake, we're going to fill, fill, fill. Get it all situated. This guy over here, he's going to be a little bit darker, so I'm actually going to take, I want to show you this, take a little bit of this brown, bring it over to the side and mix some orange with it. I'm doing this on my first layer because I want to be able to see the difference in where the front of my tentacle is to the back of my tentacle. So I'm just gonna hit it with that darker orange. And here's the back of that tentacle, okay? So you see the color difference. And here is the back of that tentacle this way. The back of that tentacle on this one, right here, okay? And the back of this tentacle here goes this way. Oop, I went a little too bright on that one. Grab some of that brown. Okay. So let this go just like this. Flow. You notice I'm not lifting my brush a ton. Back of the tentacle on this one is right here. I'm going to hit the side of my canvas so that way that's done. And grab a little bit of white here because I did hit this guy a little too heavy with the blue. Go softer here. And I'm going to go softer here as well. And blend. Okay. See how I just kind of let it all flow together? You know, what did I do here? I literally left a giant white spot. That's not even an eyeball or anything. It's just a white spot that I left. Oh my goodness. All right, we got to cover that guy right here. Perfect. Now, I'm going to start adding some brighter orange into here. Hit that eyeball a little bit. I left the eyeball out. Those eyeballs are going to be black. You can add a little bit of brown into them. And I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to grab that smaller brush, this little round one here. If you have blue on it, just rinse it off real good on the bottom of your cut. Move your bristles around, kind of like washing your hair. It'll help break up that paint, and then touch your paper towel with it to get some of the water off. Okay, I'm going to come in with some orange here and do these insides. So this is like the web part, okay? This is where that brown's also going to come in again. So bring the brown in and hit it inside the webs of the octopus, okay? Right here as well. You can also grab black too if you feel like your brown isn't doing the job that you want it to do. Grab a little bit of black. I mean, the tiniest little bit. You see how much is on my brush? I could probably even lose some of that too. Okay, that's where those pants come into play. Grab a little bit more, mix it with the brown and the black, okay? So just the very, very tip of my brush has a little bit of black on it, okay? And I'm just gonna lightly bring in, my orange is still wet on there. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. Look at, I didn't even fill this all in. Oh my goodness. I'll come back in a second. Let's get this little base on. I want to make it look like it's separated a little here. So I'm just going to pull in a little tiny bit of that web. Same here. Tiny little bit of black just on the tip. Soften it up here. And do that same thing right here. Bring in that little bit of black and brown. Soften this up with just a tiny little hint of black. See why I had to paint this background first? Because this is a lot of little detail stuff, okay? And over here, we're just gonna go on the top with that darker color. Then I'm gonna bring in some more orange over here, and I'm just gonna let this fade, blend down, okay? See how I did that? I'm going to connect it because I want to connect it just a little bit. So I'm just going to softly bring in some of the dark, okay? It's like a weird angle that I'm standing, but that's okay. I feel like I was like hunched over. Okay. Now we need the orange. Let's grab a little bit of red, mix that with a little bit of yellow. This is just going to give us a different shade of orange. And I'm going to come in with these little details here and look at that. Just like that. Spread it around. Same thing over here. Just grab this little bit, spread that around. You see how I'm just working my brush around? Do that same thing over here on this little spot that I left out again. My goodness, this is funny. And just like that, okay? Let's do that guy over here. And voila, okay? You'll come back in with that blue with that detail brush at the end and kind of buckle it all up too, okay? You don't want to make it look like your octopus is, the water is on top of your octopus. You want to make it look like your octopus is in the water, okay? So I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. Let's fill this guy in over here. So this angle goes like this, okay? And just like that, you're going to fill all that guy in. Why do I keep saying it's a guy? Maybe it's a girl octopus. We don't know. Okay, I'm going to pull some of this way. See how it just shined up, rounded out that head, added a little of that light dark there? Because that'll give it more of like a shinier, like the light's kind of coming in to the water, okay? So I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to grab a little bit of black with a little bit of brown because I want that. Just get it right on the tip there, and I'm going to make the eyeballs. I want that first layer of eyeball in there. He looks a little evil there, but I'll fix it. It's all in how you bring the paint around the eye. There we go. Look at it. It looks like a little Hershey kiss. Great. Now I want chocolate. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to soften this. Oh, that went a little too dark. That's all right. We can fix that. Bring this in. Just like that. Okay? Now, I do suggest that you let this dry a little bit in between coats. But for time's sake, we're not going to do that. All right, I'm going to rinse this guy off here, this brush. Oh, I just dunked it in my blue paint from earlier when I did the blue background. Okay, we're going to let this dry. I'm actually going to grab this mommy brush again just to start adding some depth in. Okay, I want to go like this, bring this around. You see how much more depth now it has? I'm not filling it too much, just enough though to give us some depth. I'm going to go with a little bit of brown to the side because I want to have this darker here. All right, bring this down here, soften up that eye. Bring this way. Did you see how I moved my brush? Like this, okay? I didn't lift it, I just kept going all the way down. Now it adds the shape that I want. Take a little bit of that brown and just soften this up. Depth, depth, depth. You can always add more paint, but you can't always take it away. So remember that when you're painting. I'm going to grab a little bit of this white here and just bring in a little white here. Let's bring in a little white here and round this off. See how I'm going down? Okay. Talking about this little chocolate morsel makes my tummy kind of hungry. Nope, I went a little light there, but we'll just go back over it. Bring all this down, almost like a cross, like we're gonna go down here like this, okay? Then bring it up here like this. Now this might take a while for you to paint, and that's okay. You don't have to do it in 26 minutes, but I do. In real life, not in TV life, it would take me longer to do this, just so you all know. That's why I did the background first. Look at this right here. Get that guy, okay? And just like that, shade in, bring it all around. Bring this down. I added some red in there because I want it to be a little bit more vibrant. I love when the blue is up against the orange. I just think it adds so much brightness to the orange and depth to your painting by bringing in the two colors together. Okay, shade this down, bring this guy up. Let's bring this guy back down, or girl, or guy, or whatever you want it to be. Because this is your painting and you get to do whatever you want. Look at how cute he's turning out. You know what I did though? Down here, look, I got a lot of blue. So I'm just gonna bring some white back in. I would let that dry a little bit and then I would come back in with the orange because I want that tentacle to be full there. Same thing here. Let this dry. I know I'm not a good singer, but I don't care. Here we go. This is what happens when you don't wear an apron because then you can't put it in. Okay. More. I want to start to show you how to bring in some of this orange into here. All I did was add a little bit of orange and you see the depth, right? Same here, same up here, and the same here. You can see the two different shades, okay? Bring a little bit of this brown in and just soften this up. Blend it down. Okay, now it looks like a little web. Same thing over here. Let's go here with this. And look at how great this is turning out. So you're doing a lot of jumping around on your canvas. That's what I do, so that way it gives each spot just a couple minutes to dry. Using acrylic paint, it doesn't take a lot of dry time. You can also grab a blow dryer and blow dry it. And I would suggest letting this dry before our next layer, but again, for time's sake, we can't. So go like this. Actually, I need some yellow. I'll grab it. I'm gonna go right here, bring in some white around the eye, bring in a little bit of white here. And I'm doing long strokes. Bring in some white here, maybe a little bit of white up here. And I'm gonna switch to this mommy brush, to the mommy brush, because this one's a little teenage brush, right? I'm also gonna grab the black and just shade in a little bit more depth, into the eye. Okay, a little bit more depth into this eye. And I'm going to show you how to bring this guy to life too. I'm actually going to grab the back of my brush like this, and I'm going to go ahead and add just a little dot right there and a little dot right there, just to start building up the eye a little bit, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this brush off. I am going to grab this mommy brush. Sorry, I know that water was so loud. That little mommy brush again. I'm going to use the side of my brush. Oh, I said I had to grab more yellow, and that's important for this part right here. So I am going to grab some more yellow. because we want to be able to have some depth. So you see I added just a little bit more yellow there. All I'm going to do is just take some of this yellow, and I'm going to start just putting almost like little dash marks in, okay? See how I have this going? I'm just using the side of the brush, and you're going to do that everywhere that you want some brightness. Some of these tentacles, they have a couple different layers on them of the white and yellow. And again, you're not going to do this until you get the full background and the full area here just done the way that you want. If you love the way that your painting is looking, then of course go right into this. You can always come back in and change it if you would like. Now you have a good idea of how we're going to do this here. So you can let this dry again in between layers. I'm going to go 2 layers thick here of tentacle marks. I'm going to bring some up here as well. You see it's just like quick little dash marks. Also going to grab some brown and come in with some brown just to add depth and variety. All right, bring in a little bit over here and bring in a couple more down here. Now grab that blue again, 1 second left. We're going to grab that blue, soften this up around here, and you see how it just pulls it all together. So once you are all finished and you love your masterpiece, you know what you have to do. Grab that little tiny brush, roll it around, and then I want you to own your masterpiece just like this. I just put my quick little initials, and voila. Now you have a great octopus to hang up and enjoy forever. Thank you for tuning in.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.